Welcome back. I hope you are feeling really good about this process. Have you been able to get any feedback about your learning progression? If not, please reach out to your colleagues. There's nothing more constructive than someone else's point of view. You don't have to take their advice if you disagree, but you never know what useful insights others can offer. The goal for this module is to align your course assessments with your learning progressions. This part is awesome and maybe scary. Change is hard, so as usual, please be patient with the process. So how do you use the learning progressions? First, we made a list of all the types of assessments that we used in the past, and we put them across the top of a simple table. Remember, an assessment is any type of activity. You may want to underline the ones you do over and over again throughout the year to distinguish them from those that just occasionally crop up. Then, on the left, we listed our practices down in that first column. The last step is to figure out which assessment could be used with which practice. So I went through each type of assessment and thought about the practice that I could assess using that particular type. For example, I could use a test to get information about how students are doing on experimental design, arguing a claim, creating explanations, problem solving, interpreting, or creating graphs. I did that for each of the remaining types of assignments. It's quizzes, projects, labs, presentations, and problem sets, for example. As you can see, I could use many different types of assessments to provide students with feedback on creating explanations. How did I settle on tests to be the one that I used? Well, let's talk about cognitive load from the teacher's point of view. I don't want to be overloaded and stressed out. Like yourself, I already spend a disproportionate part of my life going over student work. I've got a pile waiting for me, actually, when I'm done with this. So I want to limit the number of aspects I assess on any particular assignment so that it's manageable for me. And then it will probably mean that the kids will find it more manageable as well. It's not necessary to give feedback on absolutely every aspect of an assignment every time. If you choose, you can focus on one or two things and ignore everything else. This works great. So we decided to use labs to learn the skills on experimental design, arguing a claim, and using feedback. We use projects to work on the engineering design cycle and engaging with content. And we use tests to provide feedback on problem solving, creating and interpreting graphs, and creating explanations. This streamlines grading, creating an overarching structure to the course, and simplifies the workflow overall. What happens to the other things we do, like presentations, activities, quizzes, problem sets? Hold that thought for just a minute. By the way, you can find another example of the chart in Chapter 9 on page 94 of the Going Gradeless book. Why don't you take some time to do this for yourself? It may be a little difficult to do if you aren't finished developing all of your learning progressions, but you do have your list of practices from Module 5. So try it. List your assessment types across the top and find out which ones work with your practices, even if you only developed one or two fully. Give yourself some time to do this.